Welcome to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Sounds crazy, right? But what if I told you that a seemingly ordinary 1977 5-cent coin, yes, the one people ignore every single day, has been rumored to reach jaw-dropping values that could change someone's life forever? Most people wouldn't even give it a second glance, yet collectors have quietly hunted specific versions of this coin with an obsession that borders on madness, and by the time you finish this video, you might never look at your spare change the same way again, especially knowing that one tiny detail could turn a simple nickel into a story worth millions. Now here's where things get real. Some rare variations and mint condition examples of the 1977 Jefferson nickel have been estimated in elite collector circles to climb toward astonishing figures, with whispers of extreme error specimens pushing into the multi-million-dollar conversation, even nearing the kind of $50 million headline-grabbing valuations that make the entire coin collecting world stop and stare. And before you think that's just hype, stick with me because later in this video, I'm going to reveal something even more unbelievable about another coin that makes this one look almost ordinary, and trust me, you do not want to miss that. So let's rewind back to 1977, a time when the United States Mint in Denver was producing millions upon millions of nickels for everyday circulation. Nothing flashy, nothing special, just another year in the long history of the Jefferson Nickels series that began back in 1938, featuring the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and his historic home, Monticello, on the reverse. A design that had already become deeply familiar to Americans, which is exactly why rare versions of this coin are so dangerous, because they blend in perfectly with the ordinary ones, making them incredibly easy to overlook. But here's where things take a turn. Not all 1977 nickels are created equal, and the real magic lies in the tiny imperfections, the minting quirks, and the rare anomalies that slip through quality control during production, because when you're striking coins at high speed, mistakes are inevitable, and sometimes those mistakes become treasures. One of the most talked about possibilities is the existence of high-grade specimens with near-perfect strikes, flawless surfaces, and full detail on Monticello, what collectors call full steps nickels, where the steps of Jefferson's mansion are sharply defined and completely visible, something that's surprisingly rare due to how easily those details wear down or fail to strike properly. And when you combine that level of detail with a pristine mint state condition, you suddenly have a coin that stands out in a sea of billions. But that's just the beginning, because error coins take things to another level entirely. Imagine a 1977 nickel struck off center, or with a double die effect where the lettering appears duplicated, or even more extreme, a wrong planchet error where the coin was struck on a blank intended for another denomination, creating a bizarre hybrid that collectors go absolutely crazy for. And these are the kinds of coins that can send auction rooms into a frenzy, with bidders competing aggressively for a piece of minting history that simply should not exist. And here's the part that really gets people hooked. Stories of ordinary individuals discovering rare coins in pocket change, old jars, or inherited collections, completely unaware that they were holding something extraordinary, because the truth is, these coins don't always start in museums or vaults, they start in circulation, passed from hand to hand until someone finally notices that one tiny detail that changes everything. And if you think that sounds like something out of a movie, just wait, because later we're diving into another coin that takes this idea to a whole new level, and it's honestly hard to believe it even exists. Now let's talk about why collectors are so obsessed with coins like the 1977 D nickel, because it's not just about money, it's about rarity, condition, and the thrill of the hunt, the idea that among billions of identical-looking coins, only a handful might possess the exact combination of features that elevate them into legendary status, and that scarcity drives demand like nothing else. Especially when you add historical context and the unpredictable nature of minting errors into the mix. Auction records have shown time and time again that when a truly exceptional coin appears, especially one with a unique error or an ultra-high grade, collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts to own it, not just as an investment, but as a piece of history, a tangible connection to a specific moment in time when something unusual happened at the mint. Time again that when a truly exceptional coin appears, especially one with a unique error or an ultra-high grade, collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts to own it, not just as an investment, but as a piece of history, a tangible connection to a specific moment in time when something unusual happened at the mint. And that's what makes coins like the 1977 D so fascinating. They're ordinary until they're not. And here's something most people don't realize. Condition is everything. A nickel that's been in circulation for decades might only be worth face value, but the exact same coin in uncirculated condition, preserved perfectly since the day it was minted, could be worth hundreds, thousands, or in extremely rare cases, far more, especially if it also features a rare error or an exceptional strike. Which is why collectors go to great lengths to store, grade, and authenticate their coins, turning what seems like a simple hobby into a highly specialized field. Now imagine this for a second, somewhere out there, maybe in an old drawer, a forgotten piggy bank, or even your own wallet, there could be a 1977 D nickel with one of these rare characteristics, just waiting to be discovered, and the person who finds it might not even realize what they have until it's too late, because most people don't check their coins carefully, they just spend them. And that's exactly how hidden treasures stay hidden for so long. But don't get too comfortable, because as incredible as this coin is, the next one we're going to talk about takes things even further, with a story that pushes the boundaries of what most people think is possible in coin collecting, and I'm not exaggerating when I say it could completely change how you see every coin you come across, so make sure you stick around, because what's coming next is on a whole different level. Next, 1997 5-cent coin. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding a fortune in plain sight, and the 1997 5-cent coin is the perfect example of how something so common can carry a secret so massive that even seasoned collectors double-check every detail before letting it slip through their fingers, because unlike older coins that people expect to be valuable, this one feels modern, recent, almost too ordinary to matter. Which is exactly why its rare versions have stunned the collecting world and turned casual coin hunters into obsessed treasure seekers overnight, and just when you think you understand what makes a coin valuable, this one flips the entire script in a way that feels almost unreal. Now here's where things take a dramatic turn. Certain extraordinary variations of the 1997 Jefferson nickel have been talked about in elite circles with estimated values climbing into unimaginable territory, even reaching figures whispered around $60 million for the most extreme, flawless, and rare error combinations, the kind of numbers that sound more like lottery jackpots than coin sales. And yet the buzz around these possibilities has only grown stronger over time, making this coin one of the most talked about modern nickels in the entire series, and if you thought the last coin was shocking, this one raises the stakes to a level that almost doesn't make sense, which is why collectors refuse to ignore it. To really understand why the 1997 nickel has this kind of reputation, we have to go back to the Philadelphia Mint in the late 1990s, a period when coin production was faster and more efficient than ever, with millions of nickels being struck for everyday use, all carrying the familiar image of Thomas Jefferson and Monticello, a design that had already been part of American life for decades. But hidden within that mass production were subtle variations and rare minting anomalies that slipped through unnoticed, quietly entering circulation while the world carried on as usual, completely unaware that a few of those coins were anything but ordinary. One of the key factors that drives the value of this coin is condition, especially those graded at the very top of the scale, where every microscopic detail is preserved, every line is sharp, and the surfaces are nearly flawless, because achieving that level of perfection is incredibly rare for a coin that was meant to be used in everyday transactions, and when you combine that with the elusive, full steps detail on Monticello, where each step is clearly defined and uninterrupted, you get a coin that collectors consider a masterpiece of minting precision, something that stands out immediately to a trained eye. But as always, the real excitement comes from errors, because that's where the impossible becomes real, and the 1997 nickel has been associated with some of the most intriguing error possibilities, from double dies that create a ghost-like duplication in the lettering, to off-center strikes that shift the entire design in a way that instantly grabs attention, and even more fascinating, the possibility of planchet errors where the coin was struck on the wrong metal, creating a completely unique piece that shouldn't exist at all, and these are the coins that ignite bidding wars, where collectors aren't just buying metal, they're buying a story, a mystery, a moment in time when something went wrong in the most perfect way possible. What makes this even more exciting is the fact that these coins are not locked away in vaults or museums by default, they started out in circulation just like any other nickel, meaning that for years, they could have been sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, or pockets, passed from person to person without anyone realizing their potential. And that idea alone is enough to make anyone start checking their change a little more carefully, because the thought that something so valuable could be hiding in plain sight is both thrilling and slightly unsettling, especially when you consider how many coins people handle without ever really looking at them. Collectors today are constantly searching for these hidden gems, studying mint records, analyzing strike patterns, and examining coins under magnification to catch even the smallest anomaly, because in this world, tiny details make massive differences, and a barely noticeable variation could be the key to unlocking a value that most people would never even imagine, and that's what keeps the hunt alive. That constant possibility that the next coin you examine could be the one, the discovery that changes everything. Auction stories and private sales have only fueled this excitement further, with reports of rare modern nickels drawing intense interest whenever they surface, especially those with unique errors or near-perfect grades, because rarity combined with condition creates a powerful formula that drives prices higher and higher, and when a coin checks every box, rarity, condition, historical intrigue, it becomes something more than just currency, it becomes a legend in its own right. And here's the part that really sticks with you, somewhere out there, right now, there could still be undiscovered 1997 nickels with these extraordinary characteristics, quietly sitting in collections or even still circulating, waiting for someone with a sharp eye and a bit of curiosity to finally recognize what they've been holding all along. And that possibility is what makes coin collecting so addictive, because it turns everyday life into a treasure hunt where the prize could be far greater than anyone expects. So the next time you come across a nickel, Don't just toss it aside or spend it without a second thought. Take a moment, look closely, check the details, because you never know what you might find, and as unbelievable as it sounds, the coin that could change your life might already be in your hands, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for you to notice it.